Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. And now we've got the very unfortunate details of the impact Overwatch is going to suffer from the massive wave of layoffs that hit Activision Blizzard yesterday. So as we know, 1,900, that's right, you heard that correctly, 1,900 members of staff across Activision Blizzard and other Xbox gaming studios, but primarily it was across Blizzard, have been let go. Now, who's gone? What does this mean? Let's try and break all of this down. But I think the first place to start is with this, because it's just a banger. So this is Jorge, and unfortunately, he's been let go by Blizzard. But look what he said in the Slack. Look, I'm just happy we were able to provide some value to the shareholders. And then he gets kicked out of Slack. But you can see, obviously, a lot of people have responded to that. And he said, this was my last message. It's kind of cut off on the screen, but he just says, my last message before my Slack was deactivated. You can kind of see it there through the picture. So kind of like a bit of gallows humor there, I think, but honestly, it made me laugh. You can see I've replied like, effing legend. You gotta love it. Anyway, let's move on. Let's take a look at what's happened here and try and break all of this down, because there are some key things here. Notably, we have got a very big scaling back of PvE, of developers involved with PvE. And there are other developers who have been removed from the company that maybe are not as intimately involved with that. But it looks like we are seeing an Overwatch future that is going to sort of, well, it's not going to really involve much PvE. There may be some, but it's basically been canned. And as a result, everybody working on that aspect of the game have been let go. So this is what I want to start off with, because honestly, I find this actual comedy gold. So this is from Tom Warren. I think he's the editor. Yeah, well, he's the senior editor at The Verge. He says, former Blizzard president Mike Ybarra says he plans to travel the world. Okay, so let's take a look at what Mike Ybarra says. So this is on LinkedIn, I believe. He says this: it was great to be part of the team that built Blizzard and Activision over the years. I've decided to transition out now that it's merging with Microsoft, and happy to have helped that succeed. Now, here's the kicker, because it's very, very relatable behavior. I'll be taking time out for a bit to spend with the family and travel the world. Yeah. Afterwards, we'll look for hyper growth opportunities with great teams. Piss off. The language is horrible. They're so disconnected. Like C-suite and CEOs, directors, all of that. They don't know what's going on in the real world. It's crazy. Like, thousands of people have lost their job. They depended on their wages. They depended on their salary. A lot of these people depended on the actual visa that the job gave them, because they needed a sponsored visa to stay in the US. It's gone. You know, but it's fine. I'm off to travel the world, guys. I loved every minute of it. Anyway, let's move on. What we're going to do is move through quite a lot of tweets here from different members of the Overwatch team, and it will give us a picture as to what's happening with the game going forward. So back to Jorge. Now, he was a senior designer on Overwatch 2. And he says, just got laid off with basically my entire team. I can't really process it at the moment. After the rocky launch of Overwatch 2, we finally built up a great team that was working on some awesome stuff. Then suddenly we all get laid off. I can't even go get stuff off my desk today. So the first alarming thing here is they were building some awesome stuff, most likely related to PvE or maybe some sort of event stuff. That's not going to happen now because, well, the team is gone. And if it does happen, it'll be in a much more reduced state. So bad news there. But then we get another message here, and this is actually, it does shine a bit of light on the whole, it's PvE taking the brunt of this. So Monica Lee, who unfortunately has also been let go by Blizzard, she replied to Jorge and says, mission designers, I am so sorry. So it's his team, would have been the mission designer team, and they're gone, or at least the team he was part of are gone. So moving on to Gavin. Now, Gavin was the lead narrative designer of Overwatch. He's also got some pretty big, his resume is quite hefty. Wasteland 3, Baldur's Gate 3, Torment, Tides of New, I can never say that, but again, fantastic. Horizon Zero Dawn, Diablo 3. Now, he's been let go, and this would be like, you can see there's been a lot of reaction to this tweet as well. And he says, my time with the legendary Overwatch team ended today with a recent round of layoffs. I'm so proud of what my team and I have accomplished. Now it's time to find my next dream project. Let me know if you see one. So the thing here is, this is you can sort of see the picture building up, can't you? You can see it's removing people who are to do with the narrative of the game. It's and the lore. It's removing people who were involved with events and PvE. You can see that it's gone. That element of the game, I think, is just going to be so heavily scaled back. It'll probably just be reduced to those little sort of mini modes that you get with various seasons, like the one we got for in the end of Blizzard World, like the Diablo themed little mini event thing. That's probably all we're going to get now. It also has to be said as well, Gavin was a lead developer, so he would have been on a much higher wage than like just an associate narrative designer or just a narrative designer. So yeah, there are still narrative designers at the company, but there's just going to be less of them. And so you would, in theory, think there's going to be less output. That's sort of what I'm going for. But again, it's all desperately sad that these people are all losing their jobs. Then we move on to Monica Lee. So again, she was a producer. Now, notably recently, Monica actually was part of the BlizzCon stage for the Overwatch 2 panel. And she spoke about I think it's called the Hero Gauntlet, which is coming in the future, like a co-op hero mastery mode, which seems to have been the push for the direction they were going with like PvE instead of missions and stuff. And she's basically quoting herself here where she said, "I've really no words right now, just feeling a lot of trauma from the 2018 layoffs. We're heading here again, no idea if my position is impacted, and just trying to hang out with my team while I can." And then she followed that up with, "It was me, I'm affected, I'm just shaking." I mean, it's just devastating news. And then she comes in with this statement: "I'm pretty fucking heartbroken. I love my job so much, and I love Overwatch. I still can't shake the feeling that I didn't do enough. I'm going to miss everyone so much." And there's this sort of thing with you get. I mean, I've been seeing reaction from people, and it'll be stuff like, "Oh well, Overwatch PvE was crap. These people needed to go." That's not true. So Overwatch PvE was bad. It was disappointing. I was not a fan of it. But the developers are only implementing the plans that have been put in place by the management. They're only doing what they can do within the structures that the management have basically built for them. They're not going, "Okay, off you go and build whatever you like." They're saying this needs to be done by this date. You've got to do this, 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 and this. And it just ends up a mess. So it's not the developers' fault. It's the higher ups. And it is often the case, especially with the recent wave of gaming industry layoffs that we see, it's never the people that are making these decisions losing their jobs. It's more often than not the rank and file developers that are taking the hit, the brunt. So don't ever go out there and attack a developer for a system or an update. Yeah, they may have implemented it, but there's been a lot of decisions to get to that point. It is not their sole primary thing, So don't think, "Oh well, Overwatch PvE was not great, that's why they all got fired, or a majority of the department got removed." That's not the case. The product ended up not being as good as it should have been because of decisions the management made. And that's the problem we always get. And this is just the way it works in America and capitalist corporate world. It's like, okay, it's time to downsize, get rid of people, blah, blah, blah. Never really looking at why the issues arose in the first place. So let's move on to another developer. This is Bella. She was a former associate artist. Now, you're about to see a lot of artists who have been laid off. Tech artists. And I'm not entirely... I don't think Bella was a tech artist. I think she was she was a character implementation and 3D character artist. But I think tech artist is sort of like... I'm gonna butcher this. It's gonna be maybe game devs watch this and be like, "What's he talking about?" But I think a tech artist is an artist that can basically do a bit of art, but also knows a bit of programming, so can sort of merge the two together. Whereas a pure artist doesn't know anything about programming, but a programmer or an engineer just knows about programming and nothing about art. I think that's what a tech artist is. But this is worrying, like seeing a reduction of artists on the team, because the strongest thing Overwatch has got is its art, its character design, its environment design. And we are going to see environment designers being laid off as well as I go through these tweets. So yeah, pretty worrying. And Bella says this: "Jobless. Anyone who can refer me to a job ASAP, I will be so glad to hear from you. I am on an O1 visa until 2026, but will need a sponsor for my next gig. T4 was a special place to work. This was the highlight of my career so far." So again, this issue with visas, it's so brutal. Moving over to America and then just getting fired for literally not your reason or your fault, and then you just have to deal with it. It's just so ridiculous. Julia, she was a artist in Overwatch 2. "Well, I was impacted by the layoffs, and honestly, I have no words other than I love my team. I loved our game, and I'm so proud of everything we've accomplished. we'll probably make a portfolio post in the future once I stop crying. I wish everyone the best. Kret, a former FX artist on Overwatch, and just for Blizzard in general. I think he did some stuff for World of Warcraft cinematics as well. But Kret says this: I was unfortunately impacted by the layoffs at Blizzard today. Turns out getting let go from your dream job was just as surreal as being offered it. Looking for Houdini FX work in the visual FX industry, but also have a lot of experience doing VFX in game engines now. So again, you've seen this like theme of artists being removed from their job, and you cannot help but think, is this a case of, is it AI? I mean, it's not going to be they're going to straight up use AI art in games, but it's most likely they're just going to outsource all of this stuff, and then the AI thing will come down the line. But again, like I said, the strongest thing Blizzard have always had is their art, and it seems crazy to me you would let these people go. It just makes no sense. Molly Warner. So Molly was a senior environment artist, also worked on Hogwarts Legacy, etc., but worked on Overwatch 2. I am completely devastated. I was cut as part of the huge Blizzard layoffs. Working on Overwatch has been the biggest dream come true. Overwatch was my life, best team ever, and I have done so much for it. I'm absolutely heartbroken. I'll be looking for work once I stop crying. And you can see actually here, there's some examples of what Molly worked on. I mean, these are all maps that we played on. It's all new Overwatch 2 stuff as well. That's the end of Blizzard World, isn't it, for the event I was talking about earlier. But again, artists getting hit. Angela Way, a game designer at Blizzard. Hello, everyone. I'm also impacted by the Blizzard layoffs today. I'm on a timer because I'm on a visa. Again, this visa issue. Please let me know if you have info about any FPS PvE opportunities. So again, straight up stating, look, I was working on FPS PvE, which was the Overwatch 2 PvE, but the team's gone, so now we're no longer working on it. So another dev who was working on PvE, gone. So this is a senior animator, previously at Blizzard, obviously, because they've been fired. I'll cherish the time spent at my dream job, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to have met some of the most talented and kind-hearted developers. Working with you has been truly a blessing. The transition will take some time to process, and my heart goes out to those affected. If anyone has any leads, I'm on the job hunt. So Sideril, he was a level designer, I think. I think an encounter designer. I may be getting this wrong, but again, it's another PvE developer. Says this: laid off alongside a whole host of wonderful event designers. Pretty gutted, but doing what I can for friends. Kate was a associate animator on Overwatch. Well, it happened. I was part of the Blizzard layoffs. It's so unreal, and it's been horrible watching everything unfold and seeing everyone cry. If anyone has any open game animation roles, please send them my way. Wabbit, a former animation producer. So you see what I mean? It's like animators, artists, all of these people getting let go. Well, I guess I'm no longer at Blizzard Entertainment. A short but delightful ride. I love you all. The worst part is there was no chance to exchange info of my team. I was typing my contact details when my Slack access got cut. Now it's just hoping they see this in the sea of shouting. Gilmar, animator. I was just laid off from Blizzard. I was there for over 5+ years just for them to tell me on the day of that I have to pack my stuff and leave. I recently updated my reel. Lucky, so I had it ready to go. So I'm posting it here just in case any leads. Please let me know. So I think Gilmar was more of like a wider, worked on the Kiriko cinematic. Was basically working in the cinematics department for animation, it looks like. But a lot of work on Overwatch, right? I mean, the majority of this is Overwatch cinematics. But again, this is the other issue, right? I think we're going into a world where we're just going to get hardly any Overwatch cinematics. In fact, we'll probably just get one a year, and it'll just be for whatever the branded collaboration event is of that time, probably towards close to BlizzCon, whatever that'll be. I think there's rumors of a Warhammer collab for Black Ops for Call of Duty. Now, if we've got a Warhammer one for Overwatch, I might actually buy a skin. So maybe I'm the worst. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's just shocking that we're going to see less animated shorts because there's literally going to be less people there to work on it. And animated shorts, again, were like quintessential to Overwatch. They were so good, and you knew they would be the best as well. It's just all getting scaled back, and it worries me because we're just going to, go into this world where Overwatch is just going to be the game it is now, and all they're doing is pumping cosmetics into it, and that's kind of it. And there's never really that moment of like, wow, this big update, this big, like, impressive moment in the game. Maddie says, it was a literal dream to have been a member of the lore team for the last 6 years with the most incredible team. I was laid off today along with several other incredibly brilliant people. Please send any job leads my way. I've got quite the plethora of transferable skills. And Maddie was she was a planner, a gamer, proud nerd, associate lore historian at Blizzard Entertainment. Blizzard always had this really cool like library in the campus with all like Blizzard's history. I don't know whether Maddie was involved with that. I think they had a actual librarian working there. Maybe they've been cut as well. I don't know. Alina says, I was laid off today and I'm feeling all the things. Was an animator on Overwatch. Isn't anymore. Nicholas, just like so many other incredibly talented people, my role on Overwatch was impacted this morning. To say working on Overwatch was a dream come true would be an understatement. I played the hell out of Overwatch 1. The idea of working on this game was just as crazy as an idea as myself going to space or winning the lottery would be. Working on games is actual magic, and joining Team 4 was as close to winning the lottery as I've ever felt. Everyone who has had their hand in helping me or working alongside me has been someone I would gladly throw down for. They have been the most incredible people I've ever met. Overwatch is in good hands. I'm so thankful for my chance to be part of it. A game designer who was working on Overwatch. Lucas. Now, Lucas doesn't work on or at Blizzard anymore. As you can see, an environment artist at Moonshot Games, but was at Blizzard and at Torn Banner. Did Torn Banner make Chivalry? I think they might have done. That was awesome, Chivalry. Anyway, it says, what a fucked up day. Half the environment art team cut from Overwatch 2. Folks I helped hire and train, associate senior levels looking for work. If your teams have openings, plot them below. So again, half of the environment team has been cut. The art environment team has been cut from Overwatch 2, which, my simplistic understanding of that is it is the people who would build, who would like prop artists and artists who would make assets who would then plug them into maps, and the environment artists are maybe laying them around. I don't know. But it's world building stuff, isn't it? It's maps, it's missions, it's events. All of this stuff is obviously heavily just scaled back in Overwatch world. We've got Andrew, is a senior concept artist on Overwatch 2, still actually at the company, and says, I cannot describe to you the feeling of watching your colleagues announce one by one in real time that they were impacted. Some of them didn't even get a chance to tell us. My department was pretty much gutted. I'm furious. And the best part, I still don't know if I'm safe. I think Andrew is. I've not seen any tweets saying that Andrew isn't there. But again, look at this, like, watching your colleagues just, it's like, it's brutal. It's so brutal. This was a more recent post from today. Obviously, I'm recording this video the day after the event. You can see by the timestamps anyway. But so Jen, a senior narrative designer on Play Overwatch, and this is what Jen says. I have not lost my job, but I have lost so many incredible teammates that I do not know where to begin. When I look back at all the work I've done in the past year and the tasks I was headed for next, I'm struck by that loss. The Overwatch team is made of amazing people. It's their passion, drive, and boundless creativity that have made this game what it is. Almost everyone I have worked with closely in my time here is now gone. Drivers behind initiatives and players our players have loved and our team has poured their heart into are simply gone. The manner in which these layoffs were executed was cruel. Hours of fear and uncertainty. No time for goodbyes. I still don't know all of the people that are gone. I'm finding out here or because I go to message someone to see how they're doing and their account is deactivated. Make no mistake, this team's greatness is due to its entirety. The way we have worked together, supported each other and our ideas and communicated with excitement and care. I can't even list the times I had an idea and thought impossible that became real because of teammates. I have faith in those of us that remain and know we will do our best to pick up the pieces and carry on our friends' projects and ideas across the finish line where we can. But when my next work launches, I will be one of a few people who worked on it still left on the team. To my friends, the team is not the same without you. I'd be honored to work with you again. This is horrible. You did not deserve this, and I am so sorry. I'll try to repost everything I see in the coming days. P.S. If you're wondering why this post is so long, it's because they laid off my dear friend and boss, Gavin, and he was usually the one that helped me edit my shit down to more reasonable length. Someone please go hire him. He rocks. You know, and I think the notable thing, like, for me here is this idea of, like, the fear. You know, it's just, you can't, like, how can you imagine the morale at that company? I mean, Blizzard's been taking a battering over and over and over again. And, like, to get told we're going to do layoffs, but we're not actually going to tell you who's being laid off yet. You just sit at your computer and wait until you get the email. It could be in an hour. It could be 2, 3, 4 hours. And meanwhile, you're just seeing people you're working with removed. Can you imagine being somebody working in, like, one of the teams that got absolutely gutted and just seeing all the members get removed? You'd be thinking, well, I'm next. It's almost like you're waiting for your, you know, turn to be executed. I mean, that is absolutely horrific. It's just totally, totally horrific. I think as well, there is another sort of thing we should probably take a look at, and it's this. Because obviously, with we'll wrap up the impact on Overwatch in a second, but this was in reference to Odyssey, which was the code name for the Blizzard survival game, which is now cancelled. And of course, everybody that worked on that game has essentially been fired, and it was hundreds of developers. And now Michael is a principal 3D artist at Phoenix Labs, but was a former 3D senior artist level 2 at Blizzard, and I believe worked on the survival game. And says this: honestly, Odyssey was like my biggest hope for Blizzard. Talented team, a great idea. The game was still legitimately fun when I left, but it looks like bad decisions after bad decisions spiraled it down. What a waste of talent. I hope my friends at Blizz can find a place ASAP. And then he gets asked, what are the chances we'll see some of the work from this? I knew a few people working on this and they seem very excited to show the game. And he says, I'd say less than 1%, lol. Unless there's leaks or Blizzard is somewhat okay to show work in progress of that project in future, but I highly doubt it. I don't feel as bad as some people who worked on it for like 5 years, though. Yeah, and also talking of Odyssey, I mean, there's a lot of stuff flying around. There is an article on Bloomberg that Jason Schreier threw up, and it's got some tidbits of information. We won't go over it in this video because it's quite a lengthy article, but essentially it says things like the game was in a little bit of development hell, and you had things like Blizzard were working on assets in Unreal Engine, but they were told by the board they had to use an engine called Synergy, I believe it was called, which was like a mobile game engine that Blizzard have got. And to use that, they couldn't actually, well, you couldn't port the models and the assets from Unreal Engine into that. So everything that was being made in Unreal would need to be remade in this engine. But they were doing all the testing in Unreal, and it was like a bit of a mess. Maybe there was a hope that when Microsoft came in and bought the company out, they go, you know what, just use Unreal. We don't care. Use that engine. Obviously, Microsoft came in and went, delete the game, get rid of it. It's all going. So, yeah, and this was apparently over 6 years of work that was, well, that was poured into this game that we're never, ever going to see the light of day, or we're just never going to get to see it. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the new reality we're looking at now as fans of Overwatch. We're seeing a lot of layoffs in the PvE events teams, character artists, environment artists. All of that culminates in there's going to be less special maps being made, a lot less missions, less event-style missions. It's probably got loads of impacts as well. This, though, does kind of make sense when you look at what they were saying earlier on, towards the end of last year, especially at BlizzCon, when they were saying, look, there is a renewed focus now on PvP. Clearly, someone from Microsoft has come in and gone, right then, what's going on here with this team? You've got all these, PvE developers, but you actually want to push forward with PvP development. So why do you have these people? Let's get rid of them, or let's put them on some other task. But they've just brutally got rid of them. I don't really know what's happened here, but the fact is, Microsoft have come in and they have cleaned house. They have got rid of a lot of really good talent, which Blizzard are never really going to replace. They are streamlining down teams, and they're very clearly streamlined down Overwatch. And in my mind, what this means is Overwatch is just a PvP game now, and it is just going to carry on the way it's going. And yeah, I think we're going to see less animated shorts, definitely less missions. I don't think we'll even see missions again. Maybe we'll see one more mission or something. I don't know. Maybe they've totally scrapped the idea of the PvE battle pass once a year. I don't know. It's just it feels like it's very heavy-handed. You know what I mean? Because it's been rough. I mean, when we go back to what Jorge said at the start of this video, yeah, it was a rough launch of Overwatch. Yeah, the PvE was rough, but who is to say that those things were getting fixed for the next round of PvE? You don't know, and I guess we'll never get to see that now. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's probably going to be the last video I'm going to make on this. I did want to make this video just to put a sort of end cap on it, because following the video from yesterday where we didn't really know what was happening, but we knew there was a lot of layoffs, we needed to sort of work out what's going on with the game, and obviously show off the people who have been impacted by this, which is such a cruel, like, callous way of phrasing it. They've lost their livelihoods. They now need to get a job, and it's through no fault of their own, really, which is outrageous. Okay, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening and watching to the video. Do let me know in the comments below what you think about all of this. As I say, this is probably the last video I'll make on this. I want to look forward to the updates that will hopefully be coming fairly soon for Season 9. I'm sure we'll get bits of information coming out about that soon. And yeah, okay, I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. See you soon.